Gotham, a crazy podcast about DC, with your host E-Rock and PD. When we speak up, get your geeks up, cause you know you about to get geeked up. So sit back, relax, and get comfy. Lose your mind like Solomon Grundy, and listen to a show that won't be forgotten, coming straight out of Gotham.
And hello, everybody out in the Spider-Verse. It's a big week coming up. Welcome to another episode of Straight Outta Gotham, episode 58. This one's for Carl Banks. We are a fandom pop culture podcast and a proud member of the Batman Podcast Network, hosted by Batman on Film. Pew, 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 pew. Make sure you check out all the other great shows on the network by heading on over to batmanonfilm.com, batman-on-film.com. There's a tab there. Make sure you check out all the other great shows: Gotham Outsiders, Batman Book Club, ELTD, Azrael Podcast, Italians for Spidey, It's a Buffet. Go eat, stuff your face, enjoy it, thank me later. Put it on Eric's tab. Today we are recording on December 11th, 2021. I am your co-host from the other side of the Hudson River. I'm Peter R. Vera. And before we get to the good stuff, I'd like to remind you, all of our faithful listeners, if you take the time to rate and review the show and we read your review on air, you entered, you won our monthly contest. You got to be in it to win it. It's like the lottery. If you don't have your ticket, you're not going to get it. Now, let me introduce you to my partner in crime, the president of the Liver King Long Island chapter, the Pancreas Prince, the jock of all jocks, a fellow Batman on Film contributor. Ladies and gentlemen, Eric Holzman.
Sorry.
So how much raw meat did you eat for breakfast today?
Oh, God. I had some steak tartare, if that counts.
I imagine for breakfast you had a couple eggs, eggs.
That's the Rick Shoe special, the steak tartare. So
okay.
Very much.
Any bone marrow?
No. Broth, but broth.
Bone broth,
so
okay.
Maybe that counts.
All right.
That counts. So it's been
ancestral living, man. You're living it up.
Yeah, it's been an eventful morning so far. It's afternoon now, but it's been an eventful day so far. I was actually watching the E channel. I was flipping through the E channel. It had Spiderman and Spiderman 2 on.
Back to back?
Yeah, back to back.
Nice.
So I watched the end of Spiderman, and then I was kind of watching the beginning of Spiderman 2. I was eating breakfast and stuff like that. And it's funny you bring that up because last night we both of us were on the Vigilante 1939's Spider-Man tailgate.
Mm-hmm.
So
they
shout out to
their YouTube channel.
Yes, yeah. So shout out to them for having us on, for having both of us on, which I didn't know you were on. I don't know if you knew I was going to be on, but we both were there. And it was
I mean, I saw you were in the chat. I assumed you'd be on. I wasn't sure when I would be on because I had to come home. I had to eat dinner, and then I hopped on.
Well, yeah, that was a good time. They did a really good job. It was a lot of us. And as we know, we've done these before where there's a lot of people and it's hard to sometimes get everyone in. And so shout out to them for doing a great job. And it was a lot of fun. I got to meet a couple people I didn't even know before. So it was cool to meet them and to hang out. We hadn't done a live stream in so long, so it was kind of weird to be on one, but it was fun. So. Good times with good people. Yeah, so I guess that's where we'll start this one. Obviously, you said it in the rundown. This is Spider-Man week, I guess, as No Way Home comes out the end of the week. It comes out on Friday, technically. I'm seeing it on Thursday night.
I'll see it Sunday night.
No
spoilers, Eric. No spoilers, Justin.
Yeah, right? Justin in our group chat, Justin always tries to spoil stuff.
I'm going to have to mute Justin on all forms of life. And just block him on the phone.
He doesn't care, man. I don't understand. I'm always like, dude, we don't want to know this stuff, but he doesn't. He's one of the ones that doesn't care, so it's kind of cool. But we're both excited for this movie, especially with all the throwbacks and all the old characters coming back. So
they did release a new clip. I think it was this morning.
Yes,
and I mentioned this in the chat. I don't know if you're in it because there's so many damn threads I can't keep track. But I brought this up and I was like, this is kind of giving me vibes of BVS where we're getting all these clips before the movie. And you know why a studio usually does that is because they want to get the movie really hyped up to sell tickets early because it's not going to have legs, a la BVS. And I'm kind of getting a little nervous today. Like yesterday, Tim mentioned on the live stream, will this movie meet expectations? And now this clip comes out and I'm like, I've been here before. Like, I'm just getting flashbacks, like we got the Lex Luthor, Clark Kent, Bruce Wayne scene in the, at the charity ball. We got the warehouse fight. Now we're getting these clips with Spider-Man and Doc Ock, and like they released like the first minute or so. And I'm just like, is Marvel for the first time worried?
Well,
Were they too ambitious?
Yeah, it's funny you bring that up too, because like I said last night in the show, and we've talked about off air, I know a lot of people had trouble getting tickets for opening night, and I told you that, Pete, I live on Long Island, which is a very populous area. There you do have a lot of theaters to choose from, but I was able to get tickets the next day for opening night. And I know a lot of places around the country weren't. Mm-hmm. So I also kind of wonder if they saw that and the pre-sale wasn't as big as they thought it might be. And, maybe they're saying, we need to pump up ticket sales to get people to come see it. So they're doing that as well. I don't know. I think every clip that they've shown us has been solid. I haven't seen one yet.
I haven't watched any clips. I only watched trailers, so I know the clips are officially released, and we all know how much I hate bootlegs and stuff like that, and illicit photos and stuff. But the movie's 7 days away. I can wait. I'm a big boy.
Yeah, like that's how I am now. Like Rick sent us a clip this morning, and I watched it. It was one I had already kind of seen before. There's really not a lot going on in it, more than what we've seen from the trailer, second trailer. But yeah, I'm trying to steer clear of all that stuff. It's literally 5 days away from me now. I think I can wait and get to see it. But yeah, it's a big week for this, because it is a big event film, as we know. It's the first multiverse film they're doing.
The biggest non-Avengers event film.
Yeah, maybe second. Maybe Civil War was kind of high because we knew everything was going to be in that film. You're right. It is.
They're all in it. It's an Avengers movie.
Yeah, you're right. Technically, it's 2. I think Tim said last night it's Avengers 2.5. So yeah, technically. It was, but I think you're right. Outside of it being having all of them in it, yeah, you're probably correct on that. So, yeah, guys. So if you haven't gotten your tickets yet, obviously I'm sure you could still get tickets for opening night somewhere. But hey, if you're listening to us, I'm sure you're fans of Spider-Man. So we only have 5 more days. 5 more days to wait. It's finally here. I know. It's crazy when you think about it. So speaking of, let's just jump right into topics here, because we have stuff to do today. But let's stick in the MCU really quick, because Kevin Feige spoke about the MCU, and he spoke about one specific character that a lot of people weren't sure what was going to happen, and we got confirmation that Charlie Cox will continue to play Matt Murdock and Daredevil in the MCU. Now, where we're going to see him, we do not know. But Feige specifically said is if you were to see Daredevil in upcoming things, yes, Charlie Cox, yes, would be the actor playing Daredevil. Where we see that, how we see that, when we see that remains to be seen. So, Pete, what did you think when you heard this news? Are you excited?
I am excited. I like Daredevil on Netflix. I thought it was great. I hope the soup gets an upgrade. But did Marvel fire their casting director? Because they're just bringing back all these legacy characters: Jameson, Electro, Molina. Doc Ock, Green Goblin.
Yeah.
Hopefully we get Toby and Andrew. So what's going on over there? You guys just getting lazy? What's happening? Well,
he's
I'm excited.
Yeah,
but,
he's a little
it's a little kind of questionable to me.
He's a little more recent, so I guess it's not as legacy, because the Daredevil show is a little more recent than those characters were. But
when was the last time Daredevil was on air?
It's been a while. Right? I want to say 2018 was the last season. I believe that was the last season. So yeah, but it's cool, I think, to keep the continuity going. I know a lot of people, originally they were supposed to be part of the full MCU, and I know a lot of people thought that those characters, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, would possibly be in Endgame. Obviously, we know they weren't.
I mean, they could be variants, right? That's a new thing now.
Yeah, that's true. But Loki, they could be variants, so we don't know. But I think it's good news for the continuity of everything. I think it's good news for fans of those characters who wanted to see them continue in the larger MCU. I don't know about the rest of them, but it'd be very easy to pull the rest of them in too. So.
Yeah, for me, this is really good because I would really enjoy if Bernthal continued as Punisher. I wouldn't mind if someone else got a shot at it, but I thought Bernthal did a fantastic job, and I think he did 2 seasons.
Yeah, it was 2 seasons, and then he was in Daredevil. I wouldn't mind
seeing him coming back.
And then he was in Daredevil season 2. Yeah. So he's been around for 3 seasons, technically, of content. But as we spoke about on the last show, he doesn't want to come back if they're going to change the tone of the
He basically
character.
wants to make like a hard R.
Right.
If they want
He
to make
wants
a
to do-
movie, he
yeah.
wants a hard R.
Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe
Which
pull him
I
in
think
a-
is the right way to do it. I mean, to be brutally honest, he is just a kind of a murderer.
Yeah, no, yes. The character is not a soft character. So you would want to keep that. If you change that part of him, then it's not Punisher anymore.
Yeah.
So that would be tough. But it would, like I said, it would be cool maybe if they bring in the future characters, maybe Jessica Jones and Luke Cage back in. I don't know so much of Iron Fist. The season 2 was much better than season 1.
I didn't mind season 1. I know it was slow, but it didn't bother me.
But it would
I
be
liked
cool
it more
to
than
see those.
Loki.
It definitely has a lot more action than Loki. Loki, we could talk about that because you finally watched it. So, I know you said you thought it was boring, which is fine. I can get.
I don't really know what the purpose of the show was, because the multiverse is introduced in Endgame. The multiverse takes place in Spider-Man. Doctor Strange's next movie has multiverse in the title. So it's not like you were introducing the multiverse. I knew it was there. I knew it was coming, right? Like we knew about timelines and all this stuff from Endgame and such. Was the point of this just to introduce Kang? Because why couldn't that just be in the Ant-Man movie? And then it's like, I spoke with Justin. He's like, well, now you know where Loki went. And I was like, yeah, I guess I know where Loki went, but it wasn't entertaining. Like I thought it was very dull. And I didn't think, I think it's, out of all the MCU shows, it was the one that I just kind of was just really just snoozing on. I'm caught up on Hawkeye. I think that's great. Falcon Winter Soldier is great. WandaVision, aside from the ending, I thought was great. Is there another one I'm missing? I don't remember. But I it's the only one I didn't enjoy.
Well, What If?
What If was fantastic as well.
Right.
So it's really the only one I didn't enjoy. It just seemed very uneventful.
It is. It's definitely a slower burn. I'll give you that. It's definitely a much slower paced show.
I love the alligator though. The alligator was great.
It's much more cerebral, because it's one of those shows that I feel like if you miss something, you have to go back and rewatch it because you're not going to get what comes next. So I think it's one of those type shows where it's very much a slower burn. I liked it because it kind of. Yes, we knew about the multiverse, but it kind of shows the beginning and how it started. So I kind of like that with the having the authority and explaining what that was and introducing those kind of characters. I really, really enjoyed that part of it. But I get what you're saying. I definitely understand how you're saying it's a much slower show, and I kind of know the kind of shows you like now, so it doesn't surprise me that you think that. It's just a little bit different than what I'm.
If they were going to explore Loki and where he went, I would have preferred it done in a Thor movie because I kind of actually dig the dynamic between Loki and Thor. So I would have liked that a little bit more. But then again, it's like, well, they've done that how many times?
Right.
I don't know. It just really felt kind of just slow to me, and I just really wasn't feeling it.
The action is few and far between. But I thought Wilson was great in the show.
Oh, he's great in both of them. They're both great in everything.
Yeah, they were both really, really good. And introducing the other Lokis, like you said, the alligator Loki was cool. And so obviously this is an older topic, but Pete never watched it. So now that he watched it, we could talk.
There's so many shows. I mean, I watch everything, as Eric knows. Like if it's gone superhero, I pretty much, I put the time in and I watch it.
Much better than me. Yes. So you are much better at that than I am.
Much better than most people. So it's not because I don't want to watch something. It's just because I got to get through 4 other things next. And, I got to start Flash, they did their big CW, big event right off the bat. So I've got to catch up on that on the CW app before I think they keep 5 episodes up at a time. So I got to catch up on that too.
And I guess the other thing you could talk about really quick is Black Widow. You finally got to watch Black Widow.
Oh, Black Widow was wonderful. So, I loved everything about it. I mean, David Harbour, I love everything he's in, including Suicide Squad. It was really cool. I dug it. I'm pissed off that Marvel took so long to make this movie because it was really good, and I dug the backstory and the family aspect and the whole Russian espionage and all that stuff. And the guy who played the villain, I like everything he's in except for Point Break, the remake. That guy's a really good actor. I dig that dude. And it bothers me now because now we're getting Daredevil in the MCU. Romanov's dead. We're not going to get that relationship. That bugs me. It took them 15 years to make this Romanov movie. And I'm like, man, you guys, they're it just bums me out because I was, I felt like at some points Black Widow was mishandled at certain points of the MCU. It bothers me she never had the Russian accent, and it will always bother me. Considering everyone else that she's involved with in her family had a Russian accent, it just makes no sense. It just, but I don't know. People seem to let that slide for some reason.
Does it bother you that Wanda had an accent in of Age of Ultron, and then she progressively lost her accent?
It just goes away.
Yeah. Like I think about that all the time. I'm like, every time I've watched subsequent from that movie, I'm like, okay, it's a little bit less in this one, and it's a little bit.
It's like hardcore in Ultron.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
it is. They really, really went for it there, and now on WandaVision, it wasn't. She didn't have it at all.
No,
at all. So, I think it's cool you finally saw Black Widow. I agree with everything you said, and I said it last night on the live stream too. Like, this should have come out, and Hawkeye probably should have come out years ago, because I felt like those two characters, although they're big names acting wise, Jeremy Renner and obviously
I'm happy
Scarlett
Hawkeye
Johansson
came out when it did because I really dig this chick who's playing Kate Bishop.
Oh, Haley Steinfeld.
Yeah,
yeah.
If they were waiting for the right actress to play the role, I think they did a good job with that. To be honest with you.
Most people probably in this space probably know her from Bumblebee before. She was the lead in Bumblebee, and then she finally now is Kate Bishop.
And Shang-Chi, I saw Shang-Chi as well, and I thought that was great.
That's true.
I loved every minute. I love Aquafina. She's like my new thing. I'm just all about Aquafina. I got to watch her new TV show.
Did you like the return of Trevor Slattery in Shang-Chi?
Yes, I like that a lot more than his appearance in Iron Man 3.
Right? Me too. I agree with you there. It worked a lot better in this film.
Shang-Chi did a lot to fix a lot of Iron Man 3's mistakes.
You're right. It did. In so many ways, it did.
It's almost a retcon in itself.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was very, I loved it too. I thought Shang-Chi was great. I guess the only one you haven't seen yet is Eternals, or did you see Eternals? I haven't seen
Eternals because everyone tells me everyone but you and Nico say it's garbage and I should wait until it's on Disney Plus.
Well, I think that's coming soon.
The only reason I didn't see the other two on Disney earlier was because I didn't want to, because COVID, to be honest with you. That's the only reason. It was all COVID related. It had nothing to do. I'm not anti-MCU.
No.
Okay,
I joke with you that you are, but
I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about other people. I'm not anti-MCU. I'm anti-virus.
I think we're all anti-virus.
So
well, I don't
that's
know.
That's the reason
actually,
I didn't see those two. But I was ready to go see Eternals until everyone said it was like pass.
I've made my comments on it clear. I think it's
we'll talk about it when I see it. I'm sure. I'll as soon as it's out on D+, I'll see it.
Yeah, I liked it more than most people, obviously, but I do get the complaints about it. So
I feel like you haven't disliked anything Marvel since Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Guardians 2, yeah, that was probably the last one. I'm trying to think anything else that they've done.
The Herman is strong with you.
I mean, there are things in every movie that I haven't liked. I just try and grade it on an overarching scale of entertaining. And
I can only get you to feel that way about Batwoman.
Dude, I tried
Season
to watch that show.
Season 3 is totally different, bro. I'm telling you. Season 3 is totally different.
You're like Gothaming me on this, aren't you? You're going to get me to watch it because you're going to keep talking about it. You've tried on the internet too. You've tried to tweet on Twitter.
I've tried to get the vigilantes to watch Stargirl, and it's like pulling teeth.
That show is worth the watch. So people need to watch that show. That show is definitely worth the watch,
especially if you're a JSA fan.
So it's just, I'll say this: if you're over, I want to say 30, kind of dial down your expectations a little bit, because you have to remember the show is about teenagers, like it's really about teenage kids. So I think you need to dial it back a little bit. Isn't that what the MCU
Spider-Man is about?
But yes, which is why it's a problem for some people. Some people don't like
Holzman.
No, it's not for me.
I know, but you have problems with teenage movies.
No, I'm not saying I have problems. I said dial back your expectations if you're an adult, because they deal with much younger material. That's what I mean.
We've all been teenagers.
Think about, one of the things, just since you brought it up, one of the things in Homecoming that bother people is the whole Penis Parker thing. And I'm like, well, they're teenagers. That's stupid stuff you say when you're a teenager. Like Flash calls him Penis Parker. Okay.
I thought that was brilliant, actually.
But that's exactly. But as an adult now, I'm like, oh, that's ridiculous. But you're watching a show about teenagers, so
you remember how you made fun of kids back in
exactly. That's what I mean. That's what I mean. So that's why that doesn't. That's something that
everyone's so righteous and woke lately. Like you never made fun of somebody in your life,
dude. It's Nolan's fault. Nolan made Batman so mature and adult that everything now has to be on that level. Like that's just how it goes.
Well, I think you're right to an extent, but it kind of backfired. Like we mentioned this yesterday on the live stream. Like Man of Steel and Amazing Spider-Man tried to copy what Nolan did, and it kind of backfired a little bit. You know? We entered it. Again, like they were inspired by Begins and Dark Knight, and then Avengers came out, and things were a little bit like, okay. It's a toss-up. What do you do? And you go one way or another. And, you take that chance.
Yeah, because even the first Iron Man is kind of very serious. Like, even if it doesn't have the humor that, the subsequent MCU films started to have.
Well, the first phase of the MCU is totally different than the rest.
Yeah. So, you can definitely see the tonal shift. I think someone last night, I think it might have been Josh, brought up that Guardians of the Galaxy kind of changed that. And he's probably right. Like that.
Well, remember, like phase one of the MCU, it was like Marvel was just kind of like like they partnered with like Paramount, who did Iron Man, and Universal, who did Hulk. So they didn't really they didn't become the juggernaut that they are until probably post Avengers, when they were really able to flex their muscle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but you're right. Like if you watch phase one now, you could definitely see a tonal shift.
And Thor is probably the biggest character who's had a tonal shift.
Yes. Well, I think after the Dark World, they were kind of like, all right, we need to try something else, because that movie, although I think it's better than people give it credit for, it's still his weakest film.
I like it more than Ragnarok.
So I like it more than Ragnarok because of what they did with Hulk in Ragnarok. But that's just one personal thing for me about that film. The Thor stuff, I love the Hela stuff in Ragnarok. I think that stuff's great. The whole everything with Odin and his death and how that progresses, I think is great. But yeah, the Hulk stuff, and
I just don't know if I like Waititi's style of directing.
Yeah, and it's weird because I love Jeff Goldblum in the movie, but he's kind of the thing that makes it different. And then it takes its cue from him from that point. So it's very strange how much I like his performance. But we didn't want to go on this tangent, but we did. We didn't plan on this, but here we are. So yeah, guys. So bring it back. Charlie Cox is back as Daredevil. We're moving forward in the MCU. And I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to see if they bring into the other Netflix characters back as well. We'll see if they do that.
Mm-hmm. Right. Preferably Luke Cage.
Yes.
I love Luke Cage.
All right, so we'll stick in Marvel kind of for now, and there was another scene released from Morbius. It's pretty much his transformation scene where the character goes from his sickness and death to becoming the vampire character that Morbius is. For me, this little clip, I loved it. I've always kind of liked vampire movies anyway, and vampire stuff. Not Twilight aside, because those movies suck. But
it got us Batman.
Did get us Batman, yes. But so I kind of like it, and I don't know much about the character, but I do know I like what I've seen so far, and I seem to be in the minority because I know a lot of people think this movie's gonna suck. But I've liked what I've seen so far. The clip shows it's kind of got like a Batman Begins feel, because in the warehouse when he takes down the men and he gets Falcone and he puts him on the
shipyard. Yeah,
the shipyard scene. It kind of there's a little bit of that in it, because once he transforms, they're in like this part of the boat, and then he starts killing people, disappearing and stuff like that. You see him, right? So it kind of has that kind of feel to it. So that was cool. But yeah, I'm actually digging what I've seen from these clips we've gotten so far. So what did you think, Pete?
This clip really sold me. First of all, it's very faithful to the origin. Morbius on the boat becomes it. Everyone dies. He's the only one left. Very faithful. So I appreciate that. I got a bit of a Predator vibe. You kind of got that point of view. He's crawling on these beams. There's steam all over the ship. He's taking down these guys one by one. I thought it was great. I thought it was terrifying. I thought it was violent as all hell. I appreciate what they did with the makeup and the prosthetics. I think he looks very good. I think he looks like Morbius. It's nice to know that Leto has kept up the physique he had since Joker in Suicide Squad. Like, the guy has continued his workout, because I've seen him when he did that movie with McConaughey about the
Dallas Buyers Club.
Yeah, I mean, whoa! Talk about like a Bale-like transformation to skinniness, and then building your body back up. Really impressive stuff. So he's really dedicated. But I do feel like Leto is almost a hit or miss when it comes to performance. Like, you could say you saw House of Gucci. I have not, and everyone seems to say he's the worst thing in that movie. A lot of people have issues with his Joker in his both iterations that he's played. I, for one, like Suicide Squad, but I will give it a shot. My expectations are kind of becoming a little bit more like, okay, I think I'm going to like this. I'm still not sure about it. I know Keaton is shooting his scenes either now or next month. I'm not sure. I would imagine it's next month after the holiday break. So that's probably some sort of post-credit scene setting up the Sinister Sonyverse. And that'll be cool to see. And that's kind of what really is getting me hyped for this is Keaton, even though I know he's not a big part of it, but I want to see what Sony's doing. I want to see what they have up their sleeve. But this clip was nice. I enjoyed it. And I didn't like Venom 2 as much as I liked Venom 1. I'm so far overall, I think this Sony Spider-Verse is very interesting.
Like I said, we talked obviously about Venom, but like I said, I've liked the character more than the movies. So I've liked what they've done with Venom and how they've used the symbiote and how Tom Hardy plays it. I've liked that part. I just don't think the material has been great, but I agree with you. I'm kind of now to the point like, all right, they're really going to do this. They're obviously building it up, and it's going to be cross studio because obviously we got Vulture in the MCU, so now if he comes in here, he'll be in Sony.
I think that has to do with what this new three deal Holland thing is. I think Sony was like, "We'll re-up you 3 more movies, but you've got to incorporate us. You've got to at least let us play in your sandbox." And I think it's one of those things where Marvel's not going to acknowledge it. Sony will acknowledge, kind of like what the Netflix series did, where like they always talked about the Avengers, be it like Code, like the big green guy and stuff like that. I think it'll be very similar to that, because I think Feige's like, all right, I'll let you in. I'm not going over there. You can come over here. You can come over my house for dinner. I'm not going to your house. I think that's what it's like.
I don't like your cooks. Your chefs suck. I don't want to go over there.
Your mom doesn't know how to cook. Come over at my house. We'll have some brajol.
Seriously, yeah. So that's a good read. I think that's a very good read of the situation. And so again, I think this film is going to be divisive. I think there's a certain segment of population.
Comic book movie isn't?
I know, but we're saying a film like Morbius is going to be divisive, but let's be honest. There's a segment of fans of Jared Leto fans who love him, and there's a segment of Jared Leto fans that just hate him because they hate him. Well, I'm not going to name names.
I just did.
I know you did. But there are 2 factions of fans when it comes to him alone, period. And a lot of it has to do with 30 Seconds to Mars, the music, that the band he's in, the supposed cult, which isn't real, but people think is. There's a lot of stuff surrounding him that people find weird, and they just attach it to it.
Where do people find the time to get upset about this crap?
I don't know, but I feel like that's going to be part of the divisiveness. And then I do think the Sony Marvel and the Sony MCU thing is also going to divide people as well. But I don't care. I think it's cool we're getting a Morbius movie, so let's just go with it. I'm starting to like these these standalone villain films, or at least the theory behind them. Obviously, Joker was excellent. Venom, like I said, I haven't loved the material, but the characters, I like what they've done. And now getting Morbius 2 is going to be really cool. And I guess you can kind of consider Black Adam villainish, right? Like
Black Adam teeters anti-hero, vigilante almost, villain. He's almost like a Doctor Doom like figure. Like, his people love him, but no one else in the world really appreciate. They're scared of him. So
yeah, so I feel like we're kind of trending in that direction a little bit, and I'm just here for it. I want to see it. We've been getting heroes over a long, long time. Let's just see this other side. So it's another addition to that kind of stuff going down the road. So yeah, guys, if you haven't seen the clip yet, you can find it anywhere.
It's on our Twitter feed. It's on the Facebook page. If you know where to find us, you know where to find the topics we talk about.
Right. So let's roll through a couple more trailers and teasers and things that we got. So there was a second trailer release for The Matrix Resurrections, which I have gone on record as saying it is slowly becoming my most anticipated film, even ahead of Spider-Man, which is crazy at this point, but it has slowly become because the trailers have sold it so well. I mean, from the music that they chose, I mean, it's just really, really good. And in this trailer, you kind of get the sense of where Neo is now, how he has kind of memories and flashbacks of things that happened before, but you're not quite sure what he remembers. You get a little bit more of Smith, which apparently is the character that Jonathan Groff is going to be reprising in a way. Yeah,
apparently Hugo Weaving hates everything he's ever done. From Megatron to Agent Smith.
Yeah. I don't know about Red Skull, but...
he hates Red Skull. He thinks he's such an interesting man. The quote was, "These roles have no substance." And it's like, dude...
Why do them?
You're playing make-believe for a living. Shut up. I know I throw the word pretentious around a lot. Hugo Weaving might be the most pretentious man alive.
But the thing is, he's so good.
Oh, he's phenomenal.
He's so good in the roles. Like, dude.
He would make a great, I think he would make a great Joker. His face, his expressions, you know. I'm sure he hates V for Vendetta too, you know.
Which is crazy. I love that movie.
I know.
That movie is so,
he's such a weird guy.
So you kind of also get in the Matrix, the second trailer, you get a little more of the Morpheus, who I think is Morpheus, the Yaha character.
I think we'd safely say he's a new version of maybe an update, Morpheus 2.0.
Right.
Especially since Lawrence Fishburne has said he's never been contacted.
Yes. So and you get obviously the bulk of the trailer centers around Neo and Trinity and their new and old relationship in a way. You see the new Oracle, which is Jada Pinkett's character. You finally get a glimpse of her. But yeah, this kind of just like everything I've seen about this film so far, it's just really raised my expectations. And I know I hate that because I'm afraid I'm going to be disappointed.
No, that's how I feel about Spider-Man.
But no, yeah, I have a little bit of that with Spider-Man too, but not as much as I have with this because it's much further away from the other films. Like those films came out, the last one came out in what?
2000, I was in high school.
2001?
I was a junior in high school. So yeah.
So yeah.
For me, it's like, it just brings me back to my high school years. The Matrix is a big thing. And nostalgia, it has been, ever since Stranger Things, nostalgia has taken on a life of its own. Nostalgia entertainment's huge. Stranger Things, Ghostbusters, Afterlife, what Spider-Man's doing, Jurassic World Extinct, all that stuff. And, you know, nostalgia is taking over entertainment. Yeah, Flash as well with the return of Keaton. So, you know, it's working. It brings me back. I love the Wachowski movies. The only one I haven't actually seen is Speed Racer. That's the only one I haven't seen.
Good.
Yeah, but like I appreciate their style and everything. I know Lana's doing this solo now, so it's all her. But I'm pumped. I love Yaha. I love Keanu. Keanu's been a favorite of mine for my whole life. Mr. Rooney, Tim Rooney on Twitter threw out a really cool hot take. He mentioned that he thinks by film's end, Keanu and Carrie-Anne Moss will morph into one new one. And I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
So, you know, just have that on record. That's Mr. Rooney. He's a great follow on Twitter. Fellow Long Islander.
Yes.
He's one of the good ones.
Talented guy, too. Very talented guy.
Great stuff. So I want to give him some credit, give him some airtime for that. And yeah, just like it just brings back a lot of good memories. I know the third one isn't like regarded as a great movie, but my personal favorite is the second one. I believe it's called Reloaded. I always get
with the twins.
I love the fight on the turnpike. It's so cool to me. The twins make the movie for me. I know the first one's the better movie, but for me, the second one, I just like it more. So I'm excited to see where it goes. You know, I'm excited to see the twists and turns and everything. It doesn't seem like, it's almost like Terminator 2 and 3. Like they didn't avoid Judgment Day. They just prolonged it, you know, like, cause you see Carrie-Anne Moss wakes up in the tube and everything. And you're just like, oh, wow, this is okay. Maybe they didn't fix everything, you know, because we all know Neo's back in the Matrix. Right. So what is going on? What happened? Did they actually do what they set out to do in the first 3 movies, or was that just another hallucination in itself? And all the breadcrumbs are there for you to follow. And, if you're smart enough, unlike me, you can figure it out. And, I'm just going to sit there with my popcorn and enjoy the fight choreography because, they changed the game with The Matrix in '98 and that fight choreography. It inspired a lot of the filmmakers that we have today. And, and it's weird. As much as I love Will Smith, thank God he turned that role down because Keanu Reeves is perfect, and I'm glad we got him.
Yeah. This, again, like I said, my anticipation for this film is so high now. Because of these trailers. And it's weird because I was one of the people who said, yeah, we don't need to go back there. Those movies are fine in their own. We don't need a reboot. And which I don't know if this is. I don't know. I haven't heard that they've signed on for more than one film. So I think this is just a one-off as for right now. I don't know if anyone else out there knows. You want to tweet at us after the show and after you listen to the show and let us know if this is more than one.
I'm sure if it makes bank, there'll be
a
Matrix. I don't know, Armageddon.
It could be a to be determined type deal. To see what happens.
Every movie is to be determined, except for Dark Knight Rises. That was an ending.
That's true. Well, that was the end of a trilogy, so we knew that was the end. Especially since Nolan said he wasn't doing another one. So we kind of knew at that point, yeah. Although people still thought BVS was a continuation of that Batman. But that's
some people think Begins is a prequel to 89.
I know. So it's whatever. But so yeah, so guys, again, if you haven't seen that clip, check out, we could link to it on our page and Twitter and whatever, and you can watch it. But man, I'm really, really looking forward to this movie. So we got a game teaser for a Wonder Woman a game. Now it's kind of short. They don't really show much. But I just think it's cool that Wonder Woman's getting a game, a solo game. She's been in obviously she's been in Injustice. So she's been in those games, but this seems like it's a gameplay story type game like you'd get with Batman or another character. It's kind of weird we're getting one of her and not Superman one.
I don't think it's weird at all. I think it's actually pretty accurate of the pulse of fandom and Warner Brothers in general. I mean, what's going on with Superman outside of Superman and Lois? Nothing.
You're right.
Right? Like, there's 2 movies involving J.J. Abrams and Michael B. Jordan, and one of them will get made, one of them won't be, but that'll be determined. Maybe neither will get made. So Wonder Woman, has had 2 movies. She's pretty much the face of DC right now, so this makes sense to me. I think it's a long time coming. She's never had a solo game, as far as I know. I mean, she's been a side character in Injustice, but again, those seem to be more Batman, Superman games. I know they're fighting games, but still the storyline revolves around Batman and Superman.
Yes. And
before that was she was in Justice League Heroes, which, came out years and years ago. So, I think it's great. I'm happy to see it. I think there's going to be some cool stuff. It seems to take place on Themyscira. So it's going to take place on Paradise Island, and there's a lot of cool things that could happen there. Who knows? I imagine there's going to be some great fight gameplay. I don't think choreography is the right word. So we'll see what happens. But I dug the teaser. It seemed very kind of mythological. It seems like Hippolyta is calling Wonder Woman back to the island for whatever reason. And, if the Amazons need the warrior princess, it's got to be a big deal. So this should be a fun time. I hope I'd love to get my hands on Ares and teach him a thing or two.
Yeah, I think that's the cool thing about it for me. And like you kind of touched on this, but also, I mean, little girls play video games too, right? So it's kind of cool that they're getting Wonder Woman. Obviously, after getting the movie, it took so long to get a Wonder Woman movie, and now they're getting a video game too. So I think that's kind of one of the cool things about it for me.
I think girls and women play video games as much as guys do these days. I know Justin and his wife, I'm pretty sure they used to have Halo nights, back in the day. So it's definitely a thing. I know a few gamer chicks as well. So it's not like it's a market that needs, that isn't there. It seems like it's time. I think it's long overdue. Wonder Woman deserved a game.
Yep. Yeah, she definitely does.
Probably after the first movie.
Yeah. Well, it might have been, who knows, with video games.
But that said, I miss video game tie-ins. I miss that stuff. I feel like I haven't had a video game tie-in since For DC, probably Green Lantern, and for Marvel, Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Probably, but most of the time it's because those games usually aren't good.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
So-
I like Batman Begins. I actually think the Green Lantern, I think it's called Rise of the Manhunters, is, I think it's better than the movie.
Well, it's the last game tie-in that obviously is going way back that I remember that I enjoyed was the Obi-Wan game that was tied into the Phantom Menace. It was an Xbox exclusive, I believe. I love that game, but it was the first time in a Star Wars game I remember that you could actually like use the Force and
Interesting.
do things like that. So it was very, very fun.
I know there was an unfinished game for Dark Knight because Gary Oldman did voiceover work for it, and the game just never got made.
See, that would have been cool, probably.
Yeah, I mean, because the Batman Begins game is really cool. Those Tumblr sequences were a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, sticking in video game world, we got a teaser trailer for a sequel to a video game movie that came out, I want to say last year, beginning of the pandemic, wasn't Sonic?
I think something like that.
I never saw it, so I can't really speak.
Really? You haven't seen it? Dude,
No, I have not
It's great.
watched Sonic. So I did watch the trailer for the second one. It looks interesting. I like that they fixed. I know there was a big issue with the look at first in the first film.
They fixed it in the first movie.
And they fixed it in the first movie, yeah. So, but Pete, since you saw the first film, speak about the trailer for the second one.
The first one's really good. It's almost more fish out of water than anything else. It's faithful at its core to who Sonic is, but it's not necessarily. It doesn't look like it's a Sonic movie, so to speak, right? Like because it takes place in the real world. This one looks like a Sonic game almost come to life. You know, we get Knuckles, we get a more traditional Dr. Robotnik. Jim Carrey looks like vintage Carrey here. This looks like 90s Carrey to me. Like he seems to have really refound the magic, and he was great in the first movie. And I believe it's Idris Elba who is voicing Knuckles. Knuckles is in this. Tails is in this. We get the red plane. I'm watching this movie. I'm watching this trailer, and I'm just like, this looks fantastic. And Sonic is probably, I think Sonic is the best video game movie to date. You know, Mortal Kombat had that title for a long time. I think Sonic has surpassed it easily. And I think when you see it, I think you'll agree with me. But this one looks really good. This Sonic 2 looks very faithful, very great. Like we get Chaos Emeralds. They're really sticking to the mythology and what makes the game so great. And just hearing the sounds of the spin ball and the rings and everything, I am so hyped for this movie.
Wow.
I really am. Like it just brings out everything. Like the only thing that can make this movie better is if I get a Sega in the beginning of the movie. Like that's it. But I really think this movie is going to be fantastic.
Wow. All right. I'll definitely watch the first one then. You know what it was? I do remember when it came out. It came out around the March of last year because there was a mix-up on HBO Max where people were clicking to watch Sonic, and there was that one 2-hour period where people were getting Zack Snyder's Justice League.
That Walter Hamada, he knows no bounds.
So I remember there was a slip up, and people got to see the first 20 minutes of Zack Snyder's Justice League, and then obviously they fixed it. But it was Sonic was the one that was the film that people thought they were getting.
Sonic one's good, man. I think you'll enjoy it.
So I'll definitely give it a watch. But yeah, the trailer looks good. I think he looks incredible. The digitized characters look incredible. They've come such a long way with that stuff and how they mix it in. I even thought the Pikachu movie too, he looked good with the human characters. They've come such a long way with doing that stuff.
It's probably the best, and even Tom and Jerry, which I like Tom and Jerry. I thought they'd look good in that movie too. It was and then you're looking back and man, Roger Rabbit did this perfectly. And it's has technology evolved that much more? Because it's they were doing this stuff in '94. I think that's
that when you think back and how that was cartoonish, it is crazy to believe how well that movie was done and how well it holds up to this day. It's still one of my favorite movies. Is Who Framed Roger Rabbit. It's just such a good movie.
It's great.
It's great. So guys, again, check out the Sonic clip on our page, and then we'll do the final trailer that we have in our rundown. It was for the Halo show. I believe it's a show, right? It's on Paramount Plus.
Yeah. Yep.
Dude, this thing looks incredible. Wow.
Yeah, I never thought this thing was actually going to get made, but I'm ready for it. I was Halo was a big part. Halo 2, like I fell in love with Halo 2, and I've been playing Halo ever since. Halo and Call of Duty are probably the games I play the most. I love first person shooters. There's a whole world out there that's almost like, I don't know. It's not quite Star Wars, but it's not quite. It's very militant, right? You got that whole like commando aspect to it. There's aliens. It could be like the next big thing, in sci-fi if people want to actually give it a chance and not just think of it as a video game. And going back to Sonic, maybe Sonic kind of helped that out, and the recent success of the Mortal Kombat movie, kind of pushed that along to kind of. I know obviously Mortal Kombat came out like a year ago. And
no, it was the summer. Was
it the summer? Oh yeah. God! Wow, things are really slow. Long. I feel. Am I still in quarantine? I don't know.
I had to think about it for a second when you said that, but I'm like, no, it really just came out this summer.
Yeah. So, I'm sure it was in pre-production before that, but like these video game movies and video game content seems to kind of be at an all-time high right now.
Yeah, it is. And it's weird. I've always had Xbox. I never caught on to Halo because I'm not a big shooter game fan. But I do know it because I know every time Halo has something, it's usually a big event. So I've always known a little bit about it, and it looks phenomenal. Like I always have a problem with shows like with CGI, how they're going to make the look, but the overall look of it is.
It almost looks real. Yeah,
it really does almost look real. So I'm going to give this a shot. I definitely will give this a shot. I'll watch it and see what it is, but I was not expecting much like you. I didn't think this was going to happen. I didn't think there was so much of a call for it. Like, do people really want to see some live action Halo stuff? And yeah, this looks really good. So, it's content, more content we're getting from things that from nerdy things that we grew up on. Here we go. We're getting another one in live action, and it's awesome. So I said that this was the last trailer, but there's actually a couple more. The one I want to focus on most was the Across the Spider-Verse, obviously, trailer, the first look that we got. So Pete, what did you think of it? And then I'll say my thoughts after.
I really enjoyed the first movie. It really caught me by surprise.
Yeah.
I think that Into the Spider-Verse really gave Sony a lot of confidence going forward in their Spider-Man content post Spider-Man 2, Amazing Spider-Man 2. I may not be the biggest Miles Morales fan. I know that rubs some people the wrong way. I'm not a huge Spider-Gwen fan either. But in terms of that film, I thought they were brilliant, and I loved everything that they did. I'm excited. I want to see what they do with Spider-Man 2099 and Miguel O'Hara. I think that's a character that he's not one of my favorite. A lot of the Spider-Man characters aren't my favorite outside of Peter Parker. I appreciate them for what they've done and how they've continued the legacy. But I've only really gotten involved with Spider-Man 2099 via video games. Really, the 2099 stuff doesn't really resonate with me. The suit's cool. I'm curious to see if there's a Peter Parker in this movie. That's where my heart lies with Spider-Man. So I'm curious as to how he would be incorporated. I'm sure after the first movie, Peter B. Parker would be in it somehow, some way. But we'll check it out. I loved the trailer they showed. I thought it was great. Miles and his little crush was adorable, and I was cleaning his room. And Gwen, he's the girl with the curl. He can't say no to Gwen. I mean, who can? And it was great. And just to see Miguel just jump him as he's swinging through the city was interesting. Especially, and we all knew this was coming after the teaser at the end of the first movie. And I believe this is what's his name in Goldstein, right? Those are the two guys behind this movie.
I thought it was Lord and Miller.
Okay, that's right, Lord and Miller. I knew it was a combination. Okay, I knew it was one of those groups. I have faith in Lord and Miller. I'm sorry I forgot your names, but I believe you guys can pull this off. You guys did it once. There's no reason why you can't do it again. And it looks like we're going to get a really interesting trilogy here.
Yeah, I like you said, Into the Spider-Verse was such a huge surprise hit for me. And I loved that movie. That movie was so good. Yeah. And I'm not a huge Miles Morales guy. I didn't know much about, I knew obviously who he was and that he existed, and I had read a couple things with him in it. but I wasn't a huge fan of Miles Morales. And I think it's just because I grew up on Peter Parker. Same thing with Batman. I grew up on Bruce Wayne, and Superman grew up on Clark Kent. Like the people you grow up with, those are the ones you kind of cling to and want to read about and hear about. But
Arthur Curry is Aquaman.
Right. Like you love those kinds of characters, those that you grew up on and you knew the original characters in your mind. That's who they are. And changing that is just weird. But I do love that these other characters do exist for a new generation to like, and that could be their version of the character that they love.
Funny little note, if you look up the video of Feige and Pascal as saying that Daredevil is going to be in the MCU, Pascal looks like the Dr. Octopus from Spider-Verse. Like her hair, she has that same hairstyle. Somebody pointed it out on Twitter, and I was like, "Wow, you're right.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy because her hair is absolutely insane in the clip. It looks like she stuck her finger in a socket and got electrocuted."
Yeah, that's a good call, actually.
So maybe that was like she's molded after her a little bit.
I don't know, but this trailer it does kind of increase the anticipation and gives you a little bit more into where they're going.
A lot of spider stuff coming, guys.
A lot of spider stuff, and with such a successful first film. And the thing that resonated with me with the first film is that it was definitely made for the younger generation, but it was amazing how many people our age and older loved it. So this is just a continuation of that, and the trailer just pretty much picks up right where we left off, and you're going to be taken on a ride from there. So guys, check that out because it's really awesome, and I'm looking forward to this film again. And like I said, the first film totally took me by surprise, so definitely looking forward to this one. All right, so we got a couple of other things we're going to go through really quickly, and then we will wrap this up. But first, guys, you all know that we are now sponsored by Manscaped. We have entered into a sponsorship agreement with them, and it's the holiday season. And if you don't know what to get someone as a gift or a stocking stuffer, well, Manscaped has the tools to guarantee you win this year's stocking stuffer or white elephant competition. Manscaped is the leader in men's below-the-waist grooming, and they have served more than 4 million men worldwide. And if my math is correct, that's almost 8 million balls. Man, that's a lot of balls. Get 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com, of course, using our code Gotham. So, Pete, I don't know if you've seen, but they have some new products they're trying to push this year. So
I haven't checked it out. I'm still in love with my crop preserver, keeping my balls nice and smooth. The Lawnmower 4.0 has really come in handy. I gotta say, it's the tagline's true. It gets the job done, and that little flashlight they got on there, gets into all the little nooks and crannies. I can't see this, so there's no a little clippage. Nothing's getting nicked or knacked, and it's very helpful. So I could imagine my brother's going to get a nice stocking full of Manscaped products for his Christmas this year. Help out the old cause, right?
Yeah.
And, kill two birds with one stone. So,
literally
2 birds, 1 stone. And we all know how much I love the Liver King. So right now I'm really big into testicles. So it all comes full circle, doesn't it?
It really does, man. But they have, I'm going to run down really quickly the stocking stuffer stuff. So that's really good, Eric. The stocking stuffer items that they are promoting now this year. There's a 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner that they have now. So that's just been launched, and that's obviously for your hair, guys. Your your hair on your head.
Well, if you're Italian, you got hair everywhere.
That's true. Yeah. There's a Cologne infused body wash that they have now.
Oh, that sounds great.
They have shears and it's 2.0, which is a luxury 4-piece nail kit, so you can take care of your nails. They have crop mops, which are ball wipes. So if you don't have time for the preserver, or you're out and things are getting a little crazy, go to the bathroom, carry your wipes, and take care of the situation. Mm-hmm. And they have a cologne now. I don't know what it smells like, but we will be getting product about it. So next time when we're on, since we're a sponsor, we get promotional items from them, and we will check out these items, and we'll let you guys know what they're like. But again, don't forget, you get 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com with our code Gotham. And be the ballsiest gift giver ever this year with Manscaped.
And if you're going to get anybody anything, make sure you get a pair of them draws. Those are the most comfortable boxers I've ever worn in my life.
Yeah, if you
that's not even a joke. Like, it's like wearing nothing.
Yeah, if you get their premium package, guys, that what we've been talking about for a while, which is the 4.0, which comes with the trimmer and everything, you do get a pair of the boxers Pete's talking about. So
no, those things are no joke.
They are. They really are comfortable. Very, very comfortable. They keep everything where it needs to be. It's a very, 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 very nice pair of underwear. I might even see if I can get some more. It's so good. So we'll check that out. Moving forward. All right, so back to the rundown. Let's talk about a character and a person who's very close to Pete's heart. Of course, we're talking about Danny DeVito. And he, as we know, we talked about he's doing a comic. He was doing a comic based on his character.
He did. It came out, I believe it was last week.
Right. Have you gotten it yet, Pete?
I did. Very interesting story. Not the story I thought it was going to be. It's actually a love story. So, very interesting stuff. Little tidbit. I talked about this with J.G. Hodges. His show dropped that I did with him. We did a Batman Returns show around Christmas time. It'll drop. But DeVito actually called Michelle Pfeiffer and got her okay to write the story, which I thought was very interesting. And it's, like I said, it's a love story. It's not the love story you'd expect, but it is a love story. And it's kind of cute, and it's nice when you get something that you weren't expecting, and it kind of throws you for a loop because you're like, oh wow, I got to reread this because this is something that's very different. I wasn't expecting this, and I've said that numerous times. So I enjoyed it, and DeVito even mentioned in the interview that he might consider coming back as the Penguin. I don't know how that's going to happen, being that we've got Colin Farrell in the Batman, and we've got Colin Farrell in his new TV show that's going to come out as Oswald. Mm-hmm. So, but Keaton's back, the multiverse is back. Who knows how they're going to play this out? Anything's possible that as we've all learned. If there's a way for Oswald to be resurrected, maybe he didn't die. Maybe he was just tired at the end of Batman Returns and fell into that nice cool bath of ice water. I don't know, but apparently it's open for interpretation. And if he comes back, I'm sure me and Rick will be the first in line for tickets.
It's crazy, man. He's 77 years old. I mean, yeah, 77 years old.
You wouldn't know that by watching Sunny.
No, you wouldn't. He's still sharp as a tack. Like, he's so good on that show. And I've been watching him my whole life. Twins and obviously Batman Returns.
Yeah,
he's been in so many movies.
He's an Academy Award winning director.
Yeah, he's really, really good. And yeah, the and
article, he's a Jersey boy.
Yes, that too. But he talks about it. You're right. He talks about it in the article, in the interview, about how much his love for DC and his love for the Penguin and how much he loves playing him, and he does want to come back if he could. He said it's all up to Tim, which I really don't think it would be at this point.
Well, it's funny because Tim Burton seems to, he's kind of closed that door in his life. He did his Batman. And if you ever watch John Schnepp's documentary, The Death of Superman Lives, What Happened, Tim Burton does blame Joel Schumacher for ruining his Batman franchise, which I thought was kind of funny.
He does.
So I don't know. And he seems to be very reluctant to even talk about his time as the director of the Batman franchise. So I don't know if Tim will come back. I don't know if that's Danny just kind of being polite or whatnot. But Michael Keaton has come back without Mr. Burton. Maybe all he needs is a blessing. And I'm sure Tim would give him his blessing to collect that paycheck if needed.
Yeah, I'm sure it would have to. I'm sure the script would have to be something he'd cling to. I don't think he'd want to do a disservice to the character that he did in Batman Returns. It's a different take on the Penguin.
It's a beautiful take.
So I think he wouldn't want to do it a disservice. But I think it's cool, like you said before, the nostalgia stuff, and this is just another drop in the hat for that. In that area that we're getting. Danny DeVito at 77 did a comic book on the Penguin character he played in Batman. It's just awesome. And that part was cool that you mentioned about him contacting Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yeah.
It's very,
I was
very
like,
cool.
He didn't need to do that, but he did it anyway. And that's cool. It's not like Michelle Pfeiffer owns the role, right? Like,
right.
We've had Anne Hathaway, we've had Halle Berry, and now Zoe Kravitz since then, and Carmen Bianca as well. I believe I said her name right. So we've had other Catwomen since Michelle. So I think it's cool. Just friends shooting the shit.
Yeah, no, it's this. Yeah, this piece, guys. It's a Forbes interview with him, and he talks about this stuff. So if you want to check it out over there, obviously, like Pete says, you can find it on our page, on Facebook, on Twitter. We link all this stuff there. But definitely check it out. It's a really cool little piece, and it's just cool to really learn. It goes a little bit more into who Danny DeVito is at this point too in his life, and very, very cool little article. So check that out when you get a chance. So we got another bit of news for Aquaman 2. Dolph Lundgren, as we know, was in Aquaman. He's in Aquaman 2, and he talks about. There's an article in THR where he talks about the director's cut of Rocky IV and a bunch of other things, but he also talks about Aquaman: The Lost Kingdom and the continuation of that. And he says, I quote, "The whole picture is just a class act. I think Aquaman 2 is better. I think the script is stronger and it's more exciting. The technology has moved forward in 4 years, so I was really pleased to be a part of it. James Wan is just going to blow everybody away again by this tremendous world that he creates. He's involved in every little detail, every little piece of every weapon, and I think it's going to be great." So, I've been hearing a lot about that's kind of been the consensus that, I mean, usually they say the actors in it say, oh, it's better than the first one. But that seems to be the consensus from a lot of people surrounding this film. So, Pete, does his comment raise your anticipation?
It doesn't raise my anticipation, but it's like, remember, Aquaman was being made during a very weird time in DC.
Yes, it was.
Justice League was hijacked. Whatever side you're on, you're on. Obviously that film went through whatever it was. And I'm sure Aquaman had to figure out how to translate what happened between that film and this film. Obviously, what Snyder was doing was a little bit different than what Warner Brothers wanted, and it was stated by Momoa that at the end, and we've all seen the Snyder cut by now. The ending's different. Aquaman's in a different place.
Yes.
So there was, I'm sure Mr. Wan had to toe the line a little bit, and then you see how the characters look. Like Mera looks pretty similar. She's a little bit more redhead in Aquaman than she was in both Justice Leagues. Accent in one version of Justice League and another. Mr. Defoe looks completely different as Volko in Justice League than he did in Aquaman. So there were things that were changing at the time that Wan was in production in the first film. So I imagine that's kind of created script issues and stuff like that and what they had to figure out to do. I imagine some things got reshot and some things got cut. So I'm not surprised that this seems to be more of a tighter ship. This seems to be more of a James. Well, the first movie is a James Wan movie, but Aquaman's established in this Wan world, right? I know it's part of the shared DC universe, but this is James Wan's playground here, and I think it just springboards more into a Wan film than even the last one did. I'm excited to see what they do with Manta, with Dr. Shin, I believe Shin. I'm excited to see the role he has in the movie. He had a little teaser at the end. And I'm excited to see what they do with Nemo and stuff like that. Lost Kingdom, this seems more swashbuckling than the last one.
Yes.
So I'm excited to see what Wan comes up with. I'm excited to see what monsters he comes up with, because we know that's his favorite part. Right. As the third act of Aquaman was absolutely brilliant and just magical and mythological and just, kaiju, just a lot of fun. So I'm happy Dolph is excited. I'm happy technology has advanced. I didn't see anything wrong with the previous film. I thought it was groundbreaking in terms of technology and how they displayed the water effects and the talking underwater and stuff like that. I'm glad they didn't use any of those dolphin noises that was in the Snyder cut. I kind of appreciate the actual speaking of a language that I can understand. So I'm just pumped. Everyone knows how much I love Aquaman. Everyone knows how I love shirtless Momoa. Who doesn't love Dolph? I stand. I'm a big Amber Heard fan. I know a lot of people don't like her, and it's a topic of conversation on Twitter constantly. Yeah,
but, one that I don't want to get into. But
I don't care about their personal lives. I care about what they do on screen. That's just me. So
Yes.
I'm pumped for Aquaman 2. I can't wait to see it. And, it has wrapped filming. Momoa announced that this week.
Yep.
So they are going into post-production, which is very exciting. And that movie
slated for
comes
next
out
year?
next year, right? Next December, a year from
It's
now,
still
probably.
Yep. It's still slated for 2022 as far as we know. So
this year we have Spiderman. Next year we have Aquaman, and couldn't be happier. Great Christmas presents from Hollywood.
they're taking Star Wars' place as
Yeah, well, remember
Christmas
December
movie.
used to be kind of a dead period. The industry takes a pretty much a month off between Christmas and the New Year, and it's exciting to see that. Hey, I'll give Star Wars credit. They made December a hot month for movies, so thank you, Star Wars.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
Yeah,
and so I'm excited.
I'm with you. Everything you said, man. I'm totally with. I was one of the. I think of our group, I was one of the first people to see Aquaman because I got to go to a special screening for it, and I loved it from the beginning. So I want more of this. It's such a different movie because of the technology. I'm interested to see if he brings the trench back. Obviously, we know he was going to do that movie. Then it's not happening now. So it's going to be cool to see if he brings the trench back in this one to get that, like you said, the monsters involved to bring them back in. And
it's just great to see a character who literally was a joke for a long time finally getting his due, and just all the great people who were involved, from Ramona Framden to Jeff Johns, just everyone who made Aquaman the character that he is, and he's finally getting some respect. Like, more people will recognize Aquaman now via Jason Momoa than they will Robot Chicken. That's what I appreciate. That
was the key. Casting him was the key to make him cooler.
Give it to Snyder, man. He saw something and he did it.
Yes, I think Snyder knew, like you said, he's been a joke for so long. We need to cast someone with gravitas and a cool factor.
No one's making fun of Momoa, bro.
Exactly. That's what I mean. Nobody is gonna make fun of that guy. So, and he's such a nice guy. Like, he seems like such a nice guy. Every time you see him in an interview, or he just seems like such a cool guy.
He's got such a sense of style. I wish I could dress like that. I dress like such a schlub. I mean, look at me wearing Oops' t-shirt.
The hair, oh man, that guy.
The beard, what a great beard.
Some guys just come out of the womb with that it factor. And he's one of those guys.
Yeah,
man. So
he's got it.
Definitely looking forward to this one. All right, so a couple more things real quick. Another trailer that we didn't talk about, but I just saw that we have on the rundown. So the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, that the movie, I believe, is going to be on Netflix.
Yes.
They dropped a little teaser. There's not much in the teaser, but it's very horror-ish.
Yeah,
it's a very horror-ish teaser,
February 18th of next year. So this coming February.
Yep, there's a lot of doors and empty spaces. And then
produced by Fede Alvarez, who did Don't Breathe, I believe.
Yes.
I love Fede. I think he's a master of horror. And it had all the great just tropes of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like you said.
Yes.
Just really, really interesting stuff. Just chainsaws through the floorboards, people screaming, just blood everywhere. I'm really excited. I can't wait. I love watching slashers slash people. I love watching teenagers get killed in horror movies. So it's great. And we'll see what happens. I know it's Netflix, so it's not a big motion picture, but Netflix has been doing some pretty good stuff, and I'll be sure to check it out. I believe this is a sequel, though, to the first movie. I think that's where it takes place.
Yes.
So they're going to do it Halloween style. Yeah,
they make it very clear in the beginning that it's for 1974, and the words across the screen, and a legend was born or whatever, and they talk about all that, and then they show you some clips from the actual film. So I agree with you. I was never a huge fan of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but this actually looks very, very cool. So I'll give it a watch.
I think you only need to watch the original.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. But definitely, you're right. It has all the hints of what a horror movie is in the trailer. So if you like horror and you watch this, you're probably going to be drawn in and want to watch it. So check that out, guys. Especially for our horror fans. As you know, Pete and I both like horror. We do the Halloween show every year. So for the people out there who love horror with us, go check that out. Another trailer. Now, as we know, we got to see this guy on Titans. Hank Hawk, who was played by Alan Ritchson. Well, he's now playing Jack Reacher, and it's going to be on Amazon Prime, and there's a trailer out there for that. So, Pete, what did you think of the trailer? Have you seen the movies with Tom Cruise? And
I saw the first. I've never read the books. I've seen the movies. I did not know that Jack Reacher was supposed to be this big hulking man, and that the size of Tom Cruise was a huge issue for fans of the novels. I didn't know that. I enjoyed the first two movies. I thought they were pretty good. I love Tom Cruise action films. So even like a movie like The Mummy, I can enjoy because I appreciate what Cruise does and what he brings to all his films, especially since he does all his stunts. But I thought this was cool. It felt different. It felt kind of more lighthearted, but yet more action packed in a weird way. Ritchson he's a cool dude. I kind of fell in love with him in Titans. I forgot he was Aquaman at one point. So, you two got to battle it out for the title at some point here. But I'll check it out. It's on Amazon Prime. It looks like it's a good time. And, he's such a charismatic dude. He's almost Momoa-like. Like, he's got that charisma that just kind of captures you, and you just like, what's this guy up to? And that was evident in Titans up until the demise. That damn Red Hood. And
but we got him back in the show. We got him back in an episode, so that was cool.
Yeah. So he'll make some ghost projections at some point later on, I guess. In Titans, we'll see. Make an ectoplasmic residue or two. I'll check it out. I think it's definitely worth my time. I love action stuff. This feels it almost gives me like 80s action vibes. Like, it kind of feels very Lethal Weapon-y,
Yeah. And it's funny, I didn't know this until I read the article that goes along with the little clip trailer that we got, that Kristen Kroik from Smallville is also on the cast of the Jack Reacher show, which I think is cool because he was on Smallville too, so I believe.
It's a reunion.
So it's kind of cool that there's that little connection there between those two there. But it's funny that they bring up the height thing because my brother-in-law read the books, and I remember when Jack Reacher, the first film, came out, I spoke to him and he told me, he goes, I know they picked Tom Cruise, he goes, but Jack Reacher is supposed to be this big hulking guy.
Yeah.
Oh, and so obviously they rectified that because Alan Ritchson is a big hulking guy.
Yeah.
So they rectified that. Yeah, and the trailer looks cool. I mean, the story seems pretty cool. I like these types of shows, so I'll probably definitely give this a watch, at least a try, and see what it's like. But
it's a nice change of pace for something, and this is why I think Hawkeye works so well for us, is like we're so used to these fantastical elements. When we get something that's really grounded and literally like, okay, like, it can't really happen, but you can say this takes place in our world, where we live in our space, and right. I think it's easy for us to relate to that. It's the everyman, right?
Yeah,
like that stuff. It's nice because, again, like, there's no aliens, there's no. Right. It's just grounded. It's real. It's down to earth.
Right. Like I think that's why John Wick resonates so well with people too. Like, he's just a guy who's got a crap hand, and. Obviously, he's a trained guy, but he was trying to live a normal life.
He's just a dude,
Yeah, he was just a guy. And so this is another one along those lines. And I'll definitely give it a shot.
That's why Shaft worked for so many years.
Yep, it's true. It's true. The one, and I mean, obviously Batman, right? Like, if you're a billionaire, maybe you could do the same thing. Mm-hmm. If you have the resources, hey, maybe you could do it and be that kind of a hero. So, yeah. So, guys, check out the trailer for it, Jack Reacher. It's on YouTube, everywhere else you want to check it out. All right, the last story, let's go back to James Wan. There's an article out there that Malignant, which obviously James Wan directed, might be getting a sequel. So the star Annabelle Wallis spoke about it, and she says there's plenty of ideas swirling around. We're very, very flattered by the reception, and I think taken aback by the reception. So yeah, there's a lot of conversations happening. Obviously, this came out in September, and I still haven't seen it, which I'm kind of upset about.
Dude.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to give it a watch. I've heard so much about this third act that now I definitely have.
Mind blow. Let me tell you, I watched this. So, I remember my brother didn't know about this, and because of who I am and what I do,
right?
I'll sometimes catch things before he does, and I remember it was like one September, and I was like, hey, like, we were just kind of hanging out, and I was like, "Do you want to watch this new James Wan horror movie that's out?" You know, it's kind of like, let's kick off Halloween in late September. And he's like, "Oh, cool! Like I didn't know about it." And we're watching it, and like the movie's really kind of twisted, and we're like, "Oh, dude, like what's going on here? Who is this killer?" And then they do the third act reveal, and you're like, whoa, like we did not see this coming. And then you go back and you do your research, and then you see all the Easter eggs and all the breadcrumbs that Juan left behind that you didn't pick up on because you're so interested in the kill. And you're like, wow, it was all in front of my face the whole time. Just brilliant. I one of my favorite reveals ever. Like I didn't see it coming, and I didn't expect it, and I executed flawlessly and brilliantly. Like only from the mind of James Wan can something like this happen. And I'm excited. I don't know how he can make a sequel to this.
All right, so that gives me a little insight.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know how he's going to make a sequel to this, but I'm very interested in seeing what he does.
Yeah. Again, I didn't see the first one, but I remember you talking about it, and now that there's whispers of this, I'm gonna have to watch it because I feel stupid that I haven't. But definitely, I will check it out. And
tonight you got to watch Sonic and Malignant.
And Malignant,
two totally completely different movies. I don't know which one you want to watch first. I don't know if you want to get scared shitless and then kind of calm down while watching Sonic, or if you just want to build the tension and watch Sonic first.
I think Malignant would probably win out if I was going to watch the movie tonight. So I'll definitely give that a watch. But yeah, I mean, I like James Wan, so I'm sure I'll enjoy the movie. Mm-hmm. And that you're right, that guy's mind. All these guys who do horror, their minds are just different than all of
and
ours.
Now they're all directing DC movies.
Crazy, right?
Wan, Sandberg, Muschietti. Where's Fede Alvarez? Let's get him involved, right?
He's
Come on.
Next.
Who else from New Line wants to come
hasn't
aboard
there been
DC?
rumors in the past too of a Del Toro doing DC
Justice
films?
League Dark has been rumored in the past.
So there you go. So
maybe Sam Raimi gets a little resurgence out of Doctor Strange.
He's doing an MCU film. So
maybe we can get him to do some sort of DC film. I mean, he's an accomplished director. Let's get him aboard.
Man.
James Gunn's got horror roots. Slither.
Yeah.
He wrote Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah.
Like these horror guys are really taking over. And, hey, look, you make your name with a studio for making a successful movie on a low budget. And that's how you get your $200 million tentpole.
That seems to be the plan, the very well executed plan by these guys. At least you make your horror franchise or get one like The Conjuring, and that's it, right? Like it just. Crazy stuff.
As long as someone gets their hands on Jason Voorhees soon, please. He's the only one not to. We've gotten Freddy reboots. We've gotten Michael reboots. We've gotten 2 Michael reboots. Give me some Jason.
Yeah, I think because there's like 80 of them already, it's kind of a harder sell.
I mean, there's as many Halloween films.
That's true. You're right. Halloween, there are as many
Freddy
films.
Krueger, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Like they're all. They all. It's. I hate when people are like, why are they rebooting this? Because people love it. That's why. Yeah. These are our mythological characters in our society. Are these movie characters? They're larger than life, and whether they're saving people or slitting their throats, like we want to see them on screen.
I wouldn't mind another. I wouldn't mind another Jason or another Freddy interpretation.
Yeah, I think they're both overdue.
I think, especially
being a Jersey boy, I need some Voorhees in my life. Like, I want Camp Nobusoku, like stuff like that. Like I hope it's filmed in Jersey, and while I don't hate the 2009 reboot of Jason, there's parts of it that I do think were not as ideal. But
I agree with that.
I think, with the resurgence of even Chucky got that new TV show, which I think was really good. I have to finish it, but I thought that was brilliant. If you haven't watched that Chucky show, it's the best thing that happened to Chucky since Child's Play 1. I really do believe that. So I think a lot of these horror guys are getting shots, and I think it's time for Jason to have his. I believe that the 2 camps involved have settled their legal disputes. So I think it's time to make a movie.
Yeah, I hope so. Like I said, Jason and Freddy getting another shot. And I hope that if they were to do Freddy again, I hope they would stick more to the Robert Englund interpretation than what we got from Jackie Earle Haley, even though...
I don't hate that reboot, though.
I don't hate it either.
I think it's better than Freddy 2.
But it's just not the Freddy that... I grew up on, I guess. So I guess I kind of want that guy back. Even though some of those movies are not good at all. Very, very bad movies.
I know you're a big Freddy guy, but outside of the first one, they don't really do it for me, man.
I don't know. It's just, I guess it's just what you gravitate towards. I think maybe it doesn't work for you because he's got more of a personality than maybe you think a slasher should. I don't know, but
no, it's not really that. I don't know. I think it's just the lack of Craven. Like he really kind of.
The first one and the third one are my two favorites from that franchise.
I don't even like Freddy's New Nightmare, whatever that's called. I dig that one.
I liked New Nightmare.
It was a little weird. I didn't like the balance between fake and real world. I think it was ahead of its time, actually.
But yeah, obviously the first one is the standard, and it's the one that
it's great. It's great.
The one that everyone loves and knows. And if you guys haven't,
probably my favorite Johnny Depp role, even more than Pirates of the Caribbean.
Well, if you guys haven't seen the movies that made us, it talks about they do one on Nightmare on Elm Street and how that pretty much created New Line. It's a really, really cool episode of the movies that made us on Netflix. So
Freddy Krueger created Walter Hamada, who fixed DC Films.
Yes, That's literally that studio created a lot of what we still see today, which is crazy when you think about it, but off of that film, because that was the only
It's
film.
Still funny to me that New Line Cinema made Blade, which is a Marvel movie, and New Line is a WB company, which owns DC.
It's crazy when you think back, but oh man. See? This content, all this content connected. Is all Freddy's fault.
Somebody tell Bill it's all connected. He's got to calm down.
All right, man. So I think we're at the end of the line for this show. So go ahead and tell everyone what you got going on, where they can find you.
You can find me on social media, Twitter, Instagram, and Zack Snyder's favorite video at Pete Illustrated. Follow this podcast, the podcast you're listening to now, Straight Outta Gotham, at straight_O_G on both Instagram and Twitter. We have a Facebook page. We have a Facebook group. Check out both for following all the news. Everything we talk about on the show is posted on all of our social media accounts. Check out at Team Yellow Oval as I celebrate the return of Keaton in the Yellow Oval. Check out Italians for Spidey. Me and the Carusos are recording another episode tomorrow. We're doing a couple of episodes. We're doing a couple first 4 issues of Spider-Man Beyond, the new arc, and we're going to take a quick look back at Andrew Garfield's Amazing Spider-Man 2. Check out BatmanOnFilm.com for my comic reviews. Check out Batman on Film YouTube for all my interviews and toy reviews and stuff like that. Eric, take it away.
All right, as you guys know, you can find me on Twitter at Finally33, spell Finale33. As Pete mentioned, check us out on Facebook, a Straight Outta Gotham group and page. We post all of our content there. Sometimes I might even post something weird, even on our Twitter handle. So check us out over there. I might post a little question, or I might post a recipe of something I cooked, or you never know. So whatever motivates me at that moment, that time, I'll throw up there. Couple of ideas kicking around in my head going forward. Pete and I have discussed doing maybe a sports show. There's a couple of things going on. Maybe for the new year, we can hammer something.
Ideas.
We got ideas. Hammer
None
something down.
None of them are good, but we got ideas.
So yeah, we hammer something down. Obviously, we're both, as you guys know, if you listen to the show, we're both big sports fans as well. So, baseball season's actually, crazily enough, not that far away. So a lot of stuff going on there. So we just have a lot of ideas going on. And let us know if you guys like that stuff. If we have fans there, hit us up. Tell us if you want to hear more of it, because it's something we love doing. And, we just have a good time doing this. Also, as I've mentioned in the last episode, we will be doing our holiday fundraiser. Still haven't decided yet, but I got to get cracking on that because it's coming literally 2 weeks away.
Stop eating all that raw liver, bro. Well, no, just keep it up for your health. I'm just saying, you're taking this whole Liver King thing to a new level.
Once I get something going, it's hard for me to stop. So, but definitely want to, do a little bit of our fundraiser. Again, it'll be a silent auction. So if anyone out there wants to participate, wants to help, has an item they want to donate that we can auction off, hit up Pete or I at our Twitter handles. You can hit us up on Facebook. You can hit us up our email at straightog, right? At straightog at gmail.com.
It's straight OG podcast.
Straight OG podcast, yes, at gmail.com. Hit us up over there and you can, we will get more details and we could work something out. So I believe that is it for this one. I hope you guys had a good time. For Peter Vera, I am Eric Holzman. You are listening to Straight Outta Gotham, and we will see you next time.
Booyah!